All right, looks like we are getting ready to be going here. All right, so basically what we're going to be looking at here is the first couple of areas we're going to be going through are fairly straightforward. We're just going to make our way through the side-scrolling area, through the top-down area, and then on our way to the boss. The really more technical aspect that you heard Fiesel talking about isn't really going to make its way or show itself into when we get about halfway through Area 4, Area 5. That's going to be something a little bit later. Right now, it's going to be more of how you're going to execute your jumps, your cannon fire, and how well the lag decides it wants to behave or not behave. And let's be honest, it's a speed run, so it's not going to behave.
All right. Well, the streams are, well, not quite synced with each other, but I have a feeling that Dragoon got to that area first.
Yep.
Not actually too much difference, really.
No.
Yeah, this first area, it's where you really start to... I mean, the game pretty much starts right at the level of difficulty that it's going to have throughout the whole thing. It doesn't really, start easy and then ramp up, at least as far as the speedrun is concerned. Fortunately, the boss is pretty easy to deal with, except he does have some randomness, or at least some very fragile manipulations. Maybe you could do some manipulations to control his movement patterns, but generally we just hope that we get a good pattern. So kind of one of the more annoying bosses to try to do optimally, really. And Dragoon is going for the bottom strats. You can fight this guy from the side or from the bottom. Technically, it depends on the pattern. Some patterns it's a completely identical, but what Dragoon did works better if you happen to get a really bad pattern. It's just more time spent with your grenades connecting.
Yep. And so with the bosses here, as with most good games, every time you defeat a boss, you're going to get a reward of some sort. In this case, we're going to get rewards for upgrading our tank. The first one of these is going to be the Hyper Beam, which is going to allow us to defeat this Guardian monster coming up here that you're going to see on ShiningDragoon's side of things first, and then coming up also on Zero's side of things, that thing right there. So that is going to allow them to progress on to Area 2. And basically how it's going to work is your typical NES formula, or typical formula in general. Defeat boss, receive bacon, use bacon to move on to next section, lather, rinse, repeat. Alright, so I did see it asked in the chat to kind of explain what's going on here. And when it comes to speedrunning strats on this game, there's not necessarily a whole lot of strats in the sense of, randomly strange things that are game exclusive per se. It's along the lines of it's combining the aspects of two different types of games. It's combining the aspects of a shooting style game, as you can see, with aspects of a platformer. So a lot of these quote-unquote strats in this game are going to be more on the execution side of things and less on the, well, you have to, do this button combination or this movement combination. So that's really a lot of the strats in this. When some of the tech actually does become relevant, see Area 4, Area 5, when that becomes a thing, we'll definitely get into it a little more. But right now, for the most part, at least it's a preliminary pickup of the speed game, it's fairly simple on the, mash fire button, kill things, platform.
Right, you don't have to know too much to get through it. There are some places where the game appears non-linear, and there are different branches you can take. Generally, there's only one thing to be done next because of the way the game enforces the sequence items in this game. The only thing that we have that's really any kind of sequence break is skipping the key that you would normally get from Area 4. But for the most part, you just got to know where to go next. And so you can get that by watching some videos, reading a walkthrough or something. And other than that, this is a pretty forgiving game to learn, I would say. Particularly if you're going to be playing on the Japanese version, which the players are for this tournament. You get unlimited continues, so that's a lot of leeway to work with there.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Speaking of the Japanese version, there is something to mention on that. Because of the way the Japanese version works, if you can soft reset your game in the Japanese version and still keep all of your items. Excuse me. Therefore, in the case of a soft lock, which can potentially happen here, or in the case, there's no reset warps here. So if there happens to be a soft lock, the only way to get out of that is to reset. So in that case, if you do reset, you have to make your way all the way back to the screen which you soft locked in before you can continue on with progressing through the game.
Right. If any of you guys watched the Zelda 2 tournament, you remember we had a similar sort of thing with the 1 credit clear. Like, the purpose of the category is that you weren't allowed to use game overs to warp back to the beginning of the game, which could save some time. We wanted people to not use those. You could also hit up A on the second controller. Essentially, hitting reset in this game is exactly the same as hitting up A in controller 2 in one of the Zelda games. So we banned that as a means of saving time, but like Greenleaf said, there are some places where you can get stuck, and we don't want to have people quit the whole race because of that, or shy away from difficult tricks because they're worried about getting soft locked and losing a match that, you know, they should have otherwise won.
Yep.
So go ahead if you want to talk about the grenade pause.
That's exactly what I was going to go for.
Go for it.
The one of the things that there are certain bosses in the game. I believe it's area 2, area 2, area
even ones.
Yeah, 2 is it? Yes, 2, 4, 6, and 7. Basically, the way the game works is when you fire the grenade from Jason on that top-down screen, if you pause the game at the same time the enemy is being damaged, the game's going to stop everything like a pause would normally do, except the damage. So basically, you can pause after you're damaging and then not have to worry about getting hit at all. However, be careful doing this because the same thing also applies to you. If you happen to be getting damaged when you pause, you're also going to continue to get damaged when the game is paused. So now we are going to be making our way into Area 3, and the section that you see ShiningDragoon in right now, every time I see it, still continues to remind me of Mega Man 1 and Elec Man's stage, and I will never stop saying that, no matter how many people tell me that. But this is going to be the last of the quote-unquote linearness before the game gets a little crazy, and I only say that in the sense because crazy in a sense because the first 3 areas you've gone from Area 1 to Area 2, then Area 2 to Area 3. When we're done here in Area 3, we're not going to go from Area 3 to Area 4. No, we're going to go from Area 3 to Area 2, Area 2 to Area 1. Area 4 is connected to Area 1, basically behind where you start the game. So this is where the game loses a little bit of its quote linearness because, well, technically you are going 1, 2, 3, 4. You're not going straight on 1, 2, 3, 4. It's 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 4, 5, 7, 3, 8, 6, 4, 5. You get the point. That's not the actual pattern, but... So again, I see the chat mentioning the backgrounds like they always tend to do. So what we're going to say here is if you do like what you see in the backgrounds, please make sure you throw some love and give some thanks to Scavenger216 over there in the chat. He is the mastermind behind all of the backgrounds you see here. Plus, he was the mastermind behind all of the backgrounds you saw during the Zelda 2 tournament. So show him some love, please, please, please. Meanwhile, as you can see, that first turret there giving Dragoon all kinds of trouble. Not having a good go of it here in Area 3. Usually you'd expect to be a little bit smoother, especially from some of the quality of players you see from both of them here, but that turret just being all kinds of miserable for Dragoon early on here.
Well, at some point back there, we saw a vertical missile shot coming from Dragoon. And that's actually a glitch. You're not meant to be able to shoot missiles. The three-way missiles are not supposed to be shot vertically. They're supposed to go horizontally, but you can actually trick the game. It's not too tight an input window, but yeah, you can basically point your tank upwards and shoot a missile, and the game will shoot the missile upwards. It's surprising that the game actually works that way. You wouldn't think that a completely different missile trajectory would end up getting programmed in for something you're not supposed to do, but apparently it works.
Hey, whatever works, absolutely. Alright, so coming up here in Area 3, although technically because Dragoon already took a death, an unintentional one in 2, we're not going to see the setup nearly as much here. But one of the ways, as I said, we have to get back from 3 to 2 to 1. So just because we don't have reset warps here doesn't mean we don't have death warps. One of the benefits of having the infinite continues in the Japanese version is we can do this. So basically, if you die in an area, as Jason, who is the guy with the cannon here, you're going to go back to the beginning of the room that you were in. However, if you game over, what you're going to do is you're going to go back to the beginning of the area. So that's what we're going to do when we get back to the tank after defeating this boss here, to warp us back to the beginning of Area 3. Then we're going to do it again for Area 2 and Area 1.
Dragoon coming into this boss fight real low on health. This could be a dangerous boss. He's obviously very good and very confident, but this boss does shoot a lot of projectiles, and you can't really always tell where it's going to go, what it's going to do, so it can be very dangerous. Oh, he pulled it off just...
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the photophage, which is the name of this boss here, can be a very, very tricky fight, especially because it's technically not one boss. As you can see on Zero's screen here, it's technically a bunch of different little blocks here that shoot, and if you can't defeat them all at once, they will freeze in place and another one will appear. It can get really, really, really tricky to deal with that. As you can see, Zero having a little bit of trouble with the photophage. So he gets to do it again, thankfully, but definitely going to be a definite time loss on that. As you can see, meanwhile, Dragoon is over here doing his death warps, getting himself back to Area 1. And now he's going to be jumping off the ledge again and committing more seppuku, and eventually going to get us to the beginning of Area 1, right back to where we started the game. So if you remember earlier, I said that Area 4 is behind where we started. Well, that's all fine and dandy, but we can't get up there because it's up a big old cliff. So the item we got from Area 3 is the hover engine. So now we need to get fuel for the hover engine. So that's what we're going to go do. We're going to go a little ways into Area 1 here, and then we're going to see some crescent-shaped ships coming towards you. And we're going to be firing and killing those, and hopefully they are be nice and drop hovers like that one just did. And there's 2, and oh, that's a... If that third one had dropped a hover, that would have been a really, really super strong hover farm there. The absolute quickest you could have got it. 3 shots, 3 hovers. So either way, there's the third one, and now he's going to take the death here to warp himself back to the beginning of Area 1, and now we're going to hover up to Area 4. So all things considered, that was a very, very strong hover farm, because I've seen that take a long time. So now we're going to be going into Area 4, and unfortunately, as awesome as the Area 4 background is, we don't get a whole lot of chance to see it because we're just going to skip all through Area 4, because for the most part, the sequence-breaking items or the sequencing in the game, you need items to get through. However, Area 4 doesn't give us an item. Area 4 gives us a key that unlocks the way to Area 5. Well, we like to go fast, so we don't need no stinking keys. So what we're going to do is we are going to use a little trick called the door glitch, which you just saw Dragoon do to subvert the key and go to Area 5. However, as you see on Zero's side of things, he went to jump and grab that third hover he needed and missed it. So now he's going to have to go back and farm again. So that's going to be a huge, huge time loss for him there, just because of the nature of he didn't quite get the hover. Meanwhile, what you see here with Dragoon is you see this door glitch. So what the door glitch does is if you enter a door and turn around at the exact same time you would enter it, you enter the door the opposite direction you should. And what that does is it's going to push the tile set of the room you're in offset by 1. So in Area 4, for example, you saw we used it to bypass the key. And here in Area 5, which, by the way, does have the best music in the game, and I will fight you if you tell me otherwise, we used it to bypass that big obstruction in the middle there, so we can get down here. Now, that's basically how we're going to skip through the whole part of Area 4 and a good portion of Area 5 by doing so. The only problem with that is normally you'd be going through this side of things with the tank. We're going through it with Jason instead, so we do have to be a little careful about that. But once we get our way through Area 5, which with all the water and all these enemies tends to be very, very dangerous and very, very laggy at times. Speaking of lag, there's plenty of it over there on Zero's side of things. So once we get through here and get into the dungeon, which you see Shining getting to now, we are basically going to be all set, and this is going to be the way we're going to set up for, not quote set up, but there's going to be another glitch happening here. Excuse me while I come up for air. Yes, I do breathe. I'm not a robot. One of the other reasons of playing the Japanese game here is there's a couple of things that happen. One, the infinite continues. Two, reset warps versus not reset warps. But one of the biggest things is the boss here of Area 5. It is a giant lobster-like crab known as Hardshell, or Zoidberg if you've watched most Blaster Master streams. Boss is hard, really hard. However, like we said, we like to go fast, so we found a way to glitch it. Basically, if you exit the boss room at the exact same time the screen goes dark, like Dragoon just did, you're going to glitch the game, and then you're going to go fire your grenades into this weird Game Boy looking thing, which happens to be Hardshell's vulnerable spot. Now, the reason this is a lot easier on the Japanese version is because, well, in the Japanese version you can pause buffer. In the American version, you can't. So as you can see there, that was Area 5, that was Zoidberg. Although not that you can really tell what it was. So as you can see there, now we're going pretty fast through the water. The upgrade for Sophia, which is the name of the tank that we got from Zoidberg there, was the dive engine. It's great for going fast in the water, however, you can't jump with it, so it's kind of hard. You have to work that out. Alright, so now as we can see, we have got Dragoon in Area 6, which is the requisite ice area that you're going to see in any game, because, hey, it's Nintendo and we all need ice areas.
And if you're wondering about the pausing at the door transitions, that is because it saves a few frames. Not too much, but over the course of the run, through however many 100 door transitions, it ends up saving time. Pretty significant amount. But essentially, if you don't pause, it does like a smooth scrolling through the door instead of just jumping directly over. You lose some time from pausing, but you gain the time by skipping the scrolling part. So all in all, you're saving, like, depending on the door, it's going to be anywhere from 5 to 13 frames in the overworld. And in the overhead areas, I think it's actually more like 20 frames or something like that, 21 frames, about a third of a second, so much more significant.
There you can see over on Zero's side having a little bit of trouble with the enemies in the room during the crab glitch, but still manages to take out Hardshell and pick up the dive engine. So now we're going to be using the Death Warp, as you can see right there, and boom, we're back in the entrance to Area 5 with Sophia, and hey, look at that. No harm, no foul, let's go to Area 6.
Right, so that game over is necessary. I mean, not only does it save time for backtracking, but it also is necessary because your tank isn't with you anymore. When we're doing the screen wrap in order to skip the key in Area 4, you have to leave your tank behind, and so the only way to get your tank to join you is to take the game over. So that's why if you were to play this the version without game over warps, there's a category that prohibits using intentional game overs. In fact, I don't think it's entirely deathless, but I think it's game overless is continueless is the category.
Meanwhile, Dragoon over there having trouble with one of these ice jumps, didn't quite get all what he needed to destroy those blocks. So as he went to jump, he missed and fell into the spikes and couldn't get himself in a position to destroy them. So he took a death there. Now, it's not necessarily a catastrophic death because you're going to want to take the Death Warp coming out of 6 anyway. It's just not the place he wanted to do it.
So that was quite an unfortunate situation. And you can see him just like hesitate there, looking at his health bar, thinking, "How do I get out of this situation without taking damage? Spikes above me, spikes below me." Yeah, that's a real tricky spot to be in.
Oh, that's a cool little trick. I've never seen that one before, where you pause and the blocks reappear.
Oh, yeah. I do. You'll see that in my run. A couple of people do that. I think technically you can do it without the pause, which would be faster because you don't lose the time going into the menu. But honestly, anytime I've seen anyone do this pauseless, it always looks like they're losing time. I really think the pause is the more efficient way to do it. But I don't know. Tass wouldn't do it.
You heard it here first, so when we see Fiesel running, which he will because he is in this tournament, go ahead and look for that, and if he doesn't do it, call him out on it.
Call me out. Oh, no, I would do it. I don't even know how to shoot those blocks without pausing anymore. I haven't done it in so long. Right.
All right, so you see Dragoon here making his way through the dungeon area of Area 6. Meanwhile, you see Zero having a little bit better time in that room than Dragoon did, and this is the second of those crab bosses, or as Fiesel likes to call them, Mr. and Mrs. Grabby.
Right, there it goes. This one is fought from the side usually instead of the bottom, unlike the first one, and that's because it shoots more projectiles than the one that that you fight in Area 2. So you really don't want to be in the path of those projectiles, and you come in from the left side, so you may as well fight him from there. And conveniently, he moves to the right, so I'm gonna run into you. The fact that it shoots more projectiles also makes it more likely that you're going to get a zombie glitch. However, because we're playing on the Japanese version, there's less lag all around, and lag is what causes the zombie glitch. So what happens is, sometimes due to lag frames, the boss's hit points will pass the point where it detects the death, that the boss has died. Like, the lag frame causes it to miss that trigger. And so then the boss will still keep moving, it'll still be alive, and the game hasn't, realized that the thing died. So, ZeroNoin, if he wasn't racing, could tell us precisely what's happening, because he has deconstructed, he's decompiled the code, or whatever. He probably just looked at the opcodes and everything, and he's managed to figure out exactly the mechanism that makes it work, and come up with some tips to prevent zombie glitches from happening. But there's nothing that's foolproof, unfortunately.
So as you can see now, Dragoon is making his way back through Area 1 again, because this game loves its backtracking. It really does. Don't worry, we're not done with the backtracking yet. We still have more to come.
Oh yeah, I mean, this is a Metroidvania-style game, so backtracking is essentially the bread and butter of it, which is what makes games like that so good for speedrunning, because you take shortcuts and find skips and sequence break. This game's actually fairly solid, unlike the PAL version, which is so breakable that you can just glitch your way right to the end. This version doesn't have... I mean, there's a lot of things that break, but it's solid in terms of not letting you get to areas you shouldn't, other than the key skip.
So, as you can see, Zero taking the long fall down the ice wall to get his final death.
We're backtracking into Area 2 again. Area 2 is sort of a connector between several other areas, so it is an area we go to a lot. ZeroNoin burning off some deaths in a place that's a little more convenient than trying to do it in the ladder room that he's about to come up to.
Yeah, because in this room, the only way to off yourself is to climb its ladder and faceplant.
Right. In the US version, they added a bunch more platforms, so you can come in here and jump off one of the platforms and kill Jason in one jump. However, in Japanese version, they don't have that.
Nope. So as you saw over on Dragoon's side, hey, since when can the tank climb on walls? Well, it can after defeating Mrs. Grabby and getting the Wall 1 upgrade.
That lets you climb on a wall, but not the ceiling. And it will let you go up a wall, but it won't let you go down a wall. Like if you go over a cliff, it won't take you down the side. It'll just drop you off, which is actually preferred because it's really inconvenient to have your tank automatically go down a cliff every time you try to jump at the edge of a platform. That'll start to happen after this next boss is defeated.
So now we are here in Area 7, and there are a couple of different potential skips that we could see. We did see the hard version of the skip the other day during Scav's race. I don't necessarily think we're gonna see it, although anything is possible with the quality of racers we have here. There is a second skip that is a whole lot easier to do. That one we will potentially see. We'll see when they actually get to the rooms where we can do it, but those are definitely possibilities.
Right. We have seen some players going for the more difficult or the more risky skip. Scavenger, I believe, pulled it off successfully in one of his races.
He did.
And Dragoon, though, is not going to go for that. He is going to go the normal way through most of this level, and he's only going to cut out the very end of it. So the skip that he's doing here is saving maybe on the order of what he's about to do It's going to save on the order of like 30 to 40 seconds most, whereas I think it's like a minute worth of savings if you do the other skip.
Yeah, but the other skip, the soft lock potential is much greater.
Much higher, yeah, because you are a bit dependent on the enemy RNG. But right here, we see him doing screen wraps. He's going to do 4 of them. I actually found a way to do this in 3 screen wraps, so you can see this in my race whenever that happens. Now he gets to go into this room where he's not really supposed to be, and all the hitboxes are shifted over. So now he's going to do a little duck crawl off this edge so that he doesn't die from the fall damage, and there we go. He glitches through the wall, he gets into here, he takes an intentional death because his health is so low that he can't do the next set of skips. So check these lava boosts out. When you're taking damage, you can walk right through that lava. Your iframes let you actually walk through the pit.
Mm-hmm. Now, what's really interesting is if this was the non-Death Warps version. Speaking of skips, if you take a look over on Zero's side, he is going for the hard version.
Mm-hmm.
So this is, if you remember that room that we were in with Dragoon when we started the skip, this is above that.
Right, so this is basically from the start of the level, you just go down and left, and you're in this room, and then you glitch through this floor here, and there we go, he's got the first part done. And that's going to take you down to the spot where you do the second skip that you saw Dragoon do, and you are skipping the entire level at that point. ZeroNoin actually found the setup for this particular setup for this trick, or it may have been several people who found it independently, but look at this enemy stuck in a cycle here. He's having terrible RNG. We were just talking about how this is a risky skip, and this is why. Finally, that enemy leaves him alone, pauses and unpauses to reset the hitboxes. Now he falls from a great distance and takes damage just before he hits the ground, which overrides the game's ability to detect fall death. So that lets him survive a fall that should have killed him because he got damaged by the enemy at just the time. Takes the intentional death because he needs his health back to do the next trick, and now he's going to do the trick that we saw Dragoon do a moment ago.
Now, meanwhile, you saw Dragoon. He was fighting the boss of Area 7 now. That's technically the second time we see the frog, but it's kind of the boss at Area 4, so we don't fight it the first time. So that is Solar Fred, because yes, the frog's name is Fred. And basically, we're going to stand behind him and feed him a spicy meatball grenade, and then pause the game. Nice. By defeating him, that's where we get the rest of the wall upgrades, so we can walk on ceilings and go down walls.
And here we go. ZeroNoin's finishing off the last part of the second half of that trick. And did you pause in the right spot? He sure did. Where you pause at that very end there is kind of important. He is not going to go for the lava boost. Is he all out of lives? This is interesting. You're seeing... I don't even know my way through this level. Like, the stuff he's going right now, I don't think I've ever seen this.
Yeah, I can't say I have either.
Right, because you skip all this with your deaths, but look how low his health is. Oh, he's going to pick up the flashing P. Smart guy. He knows where to get the backup items. But now he should have enough health to do the next damage boost.
Yeah, now doing some of the lava boosts. Okay, he just took the long way to get the extra health. Meanwhile, you have Dragoon making his way to Area 8, which just doesn't fit with everything else we've seen in this game.
Yeah, Area 8's a little weird. Let's look at ZeroNoin doing the frog boss for just a moment. We're going to fight the frog boss from above. And ZeroNoin was actually the person who found this setup for the frog. We were doing it a much more complicated way, and he realized that you don't take damage from the frog's butt. Ooh, Dragoon failing the spike skip. He was trying to do a spike jump there. To get that jump to work, it's a pretty tight jump, and you have to override the wall 2, which would normally drop you off that ledge much sooner than you would need to jump from. And you can actually jump over the spot that triggers your wall 2, and it will then let you drive past it without taking you down the cliff, and you'll be able to make that jump. So, pretty tricky move there, and he didn't make it that time, but fortunately he's got enough health that he's going to be okay. A lucky H drop from ZeroNoin. Did he not pick it up?
Didn't grab it.
Oh, I bet he's kicking himself for that. We really like that.
Yes.
I hope he does it. He gets it. There you go. And the thing about that hover drop is we want a hover drop to do that spike pit room that we just saw Dragoon fall down in. You don't have to do that spike jump at all if you have the hover.
Great. Nice going, Feasel. Now you've got the entire chat talking about frog butt.
Frog butt. Frog butt's harmless, guys. Don't be afraid of frog butt.
I do hear, though, it can give you warts.
Warts. Wart record.
Yep, world record confirmed. Meanwhile, over on Dragoon side, we're boss in the game. This is the plutonium boss, who, if you see everything on the cover, you think this is going to be the final boss of the game. However, there's one more thing. Turns out this whole thing was a ruse by somebody else. This is the real final boss of the game. Oh, I'm not sure what Dragoon was doing there. What is
he doing the glitch? He is. He's going to glitch out the final boss.
Yep, this is the Underworld Lord, who normally you're supposed to put him in a corner and fire at him, but apparently Dragoon's just going to get all swaggy and glitch him out.
Yep, so that's the same trick that we saw with the crab boss. You can do it at any of the bosses. You can even do it on the US version, although it becomes so difficult that it's not even worth doing for swag purposes on the US version. But if you fight this guy out here, he's fighting him in the room that he came in from, which is filled with those blocks, and the boss is just stuck. Technically, this is slower than fighting him inside that room, I think. Just because you have to do the extra walking and the extra door transition. But it sure looks cool.
Yeah, and you did see, however, that Zero did have a hover to get through that spike pit after all, so he doesn't have to go with the hoverless jump. But then just decides he's going to wall walk into some spikes anyway, so yeah, it is what it is. Sorry about that. Wow, that lag. Did you see that? Wow, that is a whole lot of lag going through this whatever intestine of whatever strange animal lives underneath the planet in this version of Japan. Yes, Chris, this is, as far as I understand, Zero's first time actually streaming. So Zero now making his way into the final boss. We just have 2 left to do here. It'll be fun to see if he tries to go with the more traditional strats for the Underworld Lord, or whether or not he's going to go with the glitched way that we just saw ShiningDragoon take care of it. But first off, we have the plutonium boss, and as you can see by the way both runners are doing it, you can literally just stand in front of him and mash the A button, firing your grenades, and you're pretty much going to be good.
Well, yeah, and what we're actually doing is pausing as well. It's mashing A and start, and what happens is every time you pause and unpause, you get a second hit from your grenade. So we're doing double the grenade damage. It doesn't necessarily kill the boss any faster, but it does reduce the amount that you get hit by those boulders that come bouncing around. Although he had a fantastic pattern, so he had nothing to worry about there.
Yep.
We're seeing the lower right corner safe strats. This is going to be 3 to 4 seconds slower. Not really too bad, and assuming you know the right spot to stand on, it is quite safe compared to the other method.
Mm-hmm. Yes, because the way it works is normally the Underworld Lord's whip can go in any of the diagonal directions facing down, but if you stand in that spot that you saw Zero standing in, the whip will just literally go straight down from his hand and will never be able to hit you.
All right, first race completed. Dragoon wins this one, a 31:02 with versus a 33:35. 31 is a pretty good time. I'm trying to think of if there were anything really major that went wrong in his run, but
he missed hoverless.
Yeah, he did miss hoverless.
He had trouble in Area 6 climbing up. He had to take that early death there.
That's right. He had the ice block room.
Yep, he had to redo that vertical room.
Just go check what his PB is real quick. Dragoon's 3015 from Shining Dragoon. That's what his PB is. That run, though, is the fourth that he did right there. 3102 is, not including himself, only 3 people have PBs that are better than the time that he just got in that race. Scavenger, I Love Mario, and Son of Orpheus have all cut that time. I bet if I actually did attempts on the Japanese version for once, I might get a time in that range,
Yes,
maybe.
but here's the question. When do you have time to do anything other than manage stream?
So far, I've managed to get in like 20 minutes of practicing here and there while I'm waiting for stuff to happen. It's fine, though. I still remember the game.
Yeah. Remember this game and the 35,000 other games I've seen you run on your stream?
I don't remember any of those games. Yeah, 3335 is a great time for ZeroNoin. And remember, guys, that was his first stream. Okay, this is first time streaming. And he is new to Blaster Mastery. Or, I mean, he's new to being a speedrunner, although obviously he's been very much involved in speedrunning community for a while.
Yep, because as we were saying, he's the one who found a lot of these setups for these task skips and the Solar Fred setup. So, and now you're getting called out for wasting time on Blackthorn, Feasel.
When Cool World and Blackthorn both get into SGDQ, it won't be considered a waste of time at that point.
Oh.
Well, racers are just getting set up in the next race channel so that we can...
Yep. So, Shawshank, to answer your question, yes, there is a speedrun of Blackthorn. In fact, there is a VOD of it on this very channel. I don't remember exactly when it happened, but there was what portion of the marathon it happened, but we had a marathon of a week-long straight of Super Nintendo games here a couple weeks ago, and the voice you hear with me, Feasel, actually may have run it.
Yeah, although that run was okay, but go to my channel and look at my highlights. I think I've got that highlighted. I hope there's like a 49:30 something like that. That one shows off all the strats that I know. So that's the one you definitely want to check out if you'd like to see a speedrun of that game.
Yes, because the speedrun of Blackthorn during SNES Superstars may have been sleep deprived %.
Oh, it was indeed sleep deprived.
I still have to give you both you and Myth all the credit in the world for going through and doing that and effectively torturing yourselves for a week. All right, so for the upcoming schedule, for those of you in the chat wondering, we have a minimum of one more match here or race here in this Blaster Master, potentially 2 depending on the results. Then following that, we have another 4-way Link to the Past race. Then I believe after that we have more Shining Dragoon for another Blaster Master race. So there is definitely all kinds of races coming your way. So if you're homesick, if it's a crappy day outside, if there's nothing on TV to watch, then by all means, snuggle up to your computer, get your favorite blanket, grab a nice cup of tea, hot cocoa, whatever beverage you want, and enjoy the competition we're bringing you here right on twitch.tv/speedgaming.
Yep, we've got, like you said, at least one more race of this, and then we're got tournament matches all night. There's going to be, I think, a 4-way Link to the Past race happening after this, or starting at 7 p.m. or whenever we finish with this. but probably not earlier than 7 p.m. And then afterwards, we're going to have Eastern time, by the way. That's 7 p.m. Eastern. And after that, we're going to have another Blaster Master tournament race, which is who is coming up.
That is Shining Dragoon versus Mediocrity or Bust.
Oh, that's right. Dragoon's back again.
I like it. Apparently, I called somebody's day someone's actually homesick on a day with crappy weather, hugging a blanket. Yes. In that case, Trunkburger, pay no attention to the creepy set of eyes in your living room window. Forget going outside. Trust me, Scratch, if I had a way to do it, I would definitely mobilize my set, but I would have zero issues doing commentary from the top of a hill on a park.
Just getting the SRL race going. Cool, and looks like they're about to go. Okay, 1 win so far for Dragoon. Doing best 2 out of 3.
Yep.
We'll see them start in just a moment.
All right, looks like we are going to be getting underway here in a second. Looks like we are going to have that slight desync between the runs issues. Again, that's just based on stream delay from where they're coming from and when they're hitting their start buttons and all that. So, but we are off again for this second race here in Blaster Master. I'm going to say right now it's going to be a lot less technical discussion here because we kind of gave you guys all of that in the first one of these. It's going to be more of kind of what we see or what Feasel sees, because all I see is the same thing. It's people going fast and hitting buttons.
I see. Well, let's see. I bet we can find more things that we didn't talk about in the previous race. There is a lot, way more than you can talk about as the action's happening.
Oh, absolutely.
Dragoon taking the low path there. There's 2 ways through that room. It's debatable which one's got less lag. There's a lot of rooms in the game that are like that, where we really just don't know what's going to be the best lag reduction strategy. This game has a limited number of enemies that it can have on the screen, although I think at this point in time the game's not throwing enough enemies at you that you'd start to run into that. But the enemy movements are random, whether they jump, which direction they go, so you have to be prepared for all the different possibilities for what they might do. And let's be prepared for the level 1 background while I'm at it.
Yep. I do want to point out, though, that you mentioned earlier in the first race that this is a Metroidvania style game. And yeah, they fully embrace that. I'm not sure if you've noticed that, but the enemies you saw in the water there in Area 1 kind of look like Metroids, and the boss of Area 1 is actually called Mother Brain. So yeah, full-on Metroid shoutouts here. Or did this came from first and then Metroid? I'm not actually sure.
Oh no, Metroid was very early, so...
Okay, so full-on Metroid shoutouts here.
Yeah.
Looks like Dragoon's going for the side pattern this time because he went with the down one earlier. Now going for the side.
I wonder why he decided to switch it up. Well, he got it in the optimal number of cycles, so if he hadn't had that particular pattern, he might have had more luck. Oh wow, ZeroNoin with an interesting kill on that Mother Brain right there.
Yep. But he's still got the same number of cycles, though.
Yep. Yeah, actually backing up to the right is how he did it, and he barely had enough space. I just watched it on the delayed version because I wanted to see it again. He was maybe a couple frames away from completely getting stuck there.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the benefits of doing commentary the way we do. We have the live stream feed and then the restream feed, so if we really like something, we can go watch it again.
Right, it's nice.
Meanwhile, welcome to Area 2, everybody. And for those who've seen this song and dance before, when I say that, it's usually my reminder of, hey, Feasel, change the background.
That time I was on it. Right. So Area 2, it's kind of fun. We just got the, what's it called? The Hyper Blaster or something? I think that's the Hyper Beam. So all that does is let you kill enemies a little bit faster. It just does more damage. So there's a bunch of stuff that you can kill fewer hits. I mean, really the only reason you need it is to get through that face on the wall, that wall face that leads into here.
Yep.
Even if you try to, you can't even kill it with missiles if you don't have that. It just won't let any of your attacks damage the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Next upgrade we're going to get is the Crusher, I believe. Is that
Crusher
what it's called?
Beam. Yes, it
Crush
is.
Beam, and it is going to let you break blocks, which is going to be a sequence item in that all these little breakable blocks that you see like right there. Oh no, there's none in this room. Yeah, there's breakable blocks all around here. Will let you access new areas. Dragoon going left there, he zigzags left instead of right. Some people don't do that. I think it's really a matter of player choice. All the enemies that you see Dragoon killing, and presumably ZeroNoin killing, are killed for a reason. It's pretty well known which ones you want to skip and which ones you want to kill, and which stuff you want to just run into with your tank. But there's so many little subtleties to the way the lag reduction works that I wouldn't be surprised if you took a look at this game a couple of years from now and saw that all of these rooms were done slightly differently.
Zero having a little bit of a hiccup there on his jump, not getting up there on the first try. And actually, we do have a question in chat that I definitely can't answer the question to, but does your hitbox actually change when you aim Sophia up?
No. Your hitbox on your tank, even though it looks like your tank's getting shorter, your tank is already short in terms of its hitbox. Only the middle third of the tank actually is part of the damage-taking hitbox. The front and the back wheels are not taking damage. And the same thing with bumping into walls. You have a slightly broader hitbox for bumping into walls, but even that, if you point your tank upwards, your hitbox still doesn't change. You can actually go up to the edge of a ledge, like at the very last pixel, and then press up on the D-pad to make your tank point upwards, and it sort of shrinks your tank, and you're floating in the air just because your hitbox is extending further than your sprite. So we got another pause grenade boss. You can use visual cues, you can use audio cues, look at the number of times it flashes, or listen to the siren sounding. I like to count the siren. It makes a nice beat, and you can count 1E and a 2E and a 3, and when you hit 7, the 7E and that's when you pause it. So if you like to, count musically, then this is a really easy boss to do. Just do it 3/4 of the way through beat 7.
Yeah, welcome to Blaster Master Theater Rhythm.
Mm-hmm.
Just be thankful it's not quite nighttime where I am, because I would be going into karaoke Saturday night. But
Nice.
I will spare everybody for now. It may or may not have happened on one or more of the overnight shifts. I can't confirm or deny anything. So now, as we said, we got the Crusher Beam here coming out of Area 2, and that's going to allow us to destroy those blocks you just saw Dragoon destroy, and make our way over into Area 3, Elecman's house, for lack of a better description of it, because they don't have a name for it. Area 3 is just so blah.
Called Area 3. Yeah, nothing in this. None of the areas have good names. They're just numbered, and sometimes I can't even remember which one's 5, which one's 6, which one's 7. They should call them something distinct. But
5 is the water one with the awesome music.
Well, sure. I mean, if I go through in my head and count up, what comes after what, but it just doesn't stand out. Area 7 doesn't have the deadly ring to it that it should. It should sound like ominous and frightening. It should have a name that strikes fear into your heart. Oh, Dragoon having a little bit of trouble with that tank. That's a tricky spot right there, because you have to get by those 2 tanks, and they're shooting at you, and you can use their predictability to actually squeeze in between the bullets they fire, but it's kind of a tight window.
Yeah, the room that you see Zero in right now, those little turret things, those can be a pain, because if they fire at you, it can be quite a pain, because they put a lot of objects on the screen, and as we know, more objects on screen equals more lag.
Dragoon doing one of the trickiest rooms in this area here. This is where you start to see too many. The game's throwing too many enemies at you, and you'll see these ceiling droppers despawn. You'll see the pink caterpillars despawn. Various things will despawn, and it's going to lag like crazy. Plus, it can throw the sine wave flyers at you. So there's just a lot of stuff going on in this room. Hard to get right. And then we see another one of the vertical rooms that Dragoon's going through, where you use these triple shot missiles. Take out some of those pod droppers.
Speaking of missiles, there's the vertical shot again.
Yep, there it is. That's another good spot for
it. Chris, I already said that when we entered Area 3. You're a little behind, pal. See, the best part of the new thing with Twitch, though, is the fact that they now show the chat VODs in here. So I don't look like I'm crazy when I'm responding to somebody randomly. Now people know exactly what I'm responding to.
Right. These guys are pretty close. ZeroNoin's only about a room behind Dragoon, and remember that on his timer he's maybe about 7 seconds off Dragoon, so imagine that he's 7 seconds ahead of where he is now. They're not terribly far apart. ZeroNoin managed to play pretty solid in the previous area, and he's gotten up to here with a bit of a time savings. Dragoon right now in the dungeon area, taking strategic damage. There's certain things need to hit him. He wants to take exactly the right amount of damage so that he can die in one hit from one of the toasters in this room coming up here. You just got to be careful that you know which things hit you and how much damage they do. Yeah, because he walked in with 0, and sometimes when you have 0 health, you're dead. Sometimes you're still alive. He really wanted to make sure that that enemy that just killed him there, which does less than 1 box of damage, is going to be the thing that finishes him off in one shot.
So now on to the photophage boss. Again, as we mentioned earlier, this one, every time I see it, it kind of reminds me of that boss from it's Mega Man 2 that has the boss that kind of looks like this, right?
It does a little bit.
Yeah.
Those things look like the garbage things that drop from the ceiling, like the garbage bundles that drop from Mega Man.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Photophage is what it's called?
Yes, photophage.
Photo means light, and phage, that's like eating something, right?
I believe yes. Let me forecast my Google foo.
Okay. Oh, the Batman boss. It totally looks like the Batman boss. You're right.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes.
There's a Sunsoft game. Alright, taking some deaths. It's the death abuse time. You know what? I'm just going to put up the Area 4 background, because it doesn't get enough use. We're going to use Area 4 background during the Death Warps part.
Nope. Phage, actually, or at least the definition of phage, is a parasitic virus that reproduces itself.
Right, but that's a creature that's named after something with Latinate roots. So
correct.
I think maybe it might be that, but it's what it is. I'll look it up later. And a little bit of hover farming from Dragoon there. Picking up the H's. You need 3 to get up this climbing section here. And that's what he got. I wouldn't say that was the best hover farm, but he's there. ZeroNoin hopefully is going to get a good hover farm and make this a nice close race.
Mm-hmm. Yep, the chat telling us correctly that you were correct. Phage does in fact mean to eat.
Alright, cool. We'll call him the Light Eater boss.
What's the Latin word for pizza? Om nom 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 nom. Meanwhile, welcome to Area 5, again, home of the best music in the game.
Oh, Zero finally... Whoa, he hopped out of the tank to do that. That was interesting.
He did that earlier, too, in his one of his other deaths. He hopped out of the tank to die.
I don't know, but like I haven't seen people hopping out of the tank to die in this area where you do the hover farming. So that is interesting. I bet that is faster than dying with the tank, assuming you don't have really low health in the tank. That's interesting. Yeah, no, all the other deaths you hop out of the tank because there's no other good way to die, but in that one you can just drop to the floor with the tank, and the floor will do 2 bars of damage per hit, which is pretty quick. But assuming you have, I don't know, 2 or 4 bars, more than 2 or 4 bars of health, yeah, I guess hopping out right there would be good. Right, if your tank's at 0, you don't hop out, but if it isn't, yeah, it'll work. Die from the fall damage. Well, we've got Dragoon making his way through one of the laggier rooms in here, while ZeroNoin is trying to pull off his 3 screen wraps. That shifts all the hitboxes over, so right there he can get past those 3 blocks. And then he pauses and unpauses, which resets the hitboxes and puts him back inbounds in a place where he can start swimming from. Dragoon is taking strategic amounts of damage here. He wants a really quick death after he goes through this door transition. Looks like he's not going to have a perfect one, and he didn't kill the right set of enemies there. You need to kill the right set of enemies in that first corridor to cause that gray guy in the top left corner to appear, and that'll kill you just a little bit quicker than the toaster will.
We are going to be setting up for the crab glitch again.
Yeah, he's doing a little cleanup out here because he doesn't want any of these enemies to interfere with his crab fight. So here we go, using the down and up technique to buffer, or to give himself a visual cue, and it takes him 2 pauses to get it, I think. Or maybe that was 1 pause and 1 dork pause. But there we go. So we're fighting the glitched version of the crab, which guarantees you a nice, quick, easy fight every time. And now he's taking a little bit of extra damage so that he can death warp a little faster. At this point, he does not have the tank. Both of these players have left the tank behind, so the only way to progress in this game is to take an intentional game over. Which respawns you with the tank. Look at that.
Sophia's a good tank. She shows up when you die.
Very helpful. Very helpful. We're seeing a little bit of use of the swimming upgrade. You're barely going to see any use of the swimming upgrade in the run, but there it is. A little bit of swimming for you. And we're onto the ice level. We're on to Area 6, the Hidden Palace.
Yes. It's kind of why I want all of the zones to have names so I can do that, because, yeah, welcome to Area 6. And there's nothing else. Like, that doesn't work.
Welcome to Area 5, the ocean area. Alright, so ZeroNoin pulling off the crab glitch. Just got to give him props for doing that.
Absolutely. I can remember watching runs of the US version and seeing just the crab glitch wreck so many runs.
Yeah, we made kind of a last-minute decision to switch over to the Japanese version for this tournament, and pretty much it was unanimous, like everyone being happy that they weren't going to get destroyed by the crab glitch in every one of their runs, because it's super frustrating. On the US version, they took out the ability for you to pause the game while the fade out is happening. They must have noticed that glitch happens if you pause during fade out, and instead of fixing it, they said, alright, won't let them pause. But unfortunately, because they didn't fix the glitch, you can actually trigger it in a different way, but it's a 1-frame input. You gotta leave the door on exactly the same frame that the boss spawns, and it lets you, it doesn't like disable the door on that 1 frame. The door's still enabled. Whereas on the Japanese version, you can pause it, and while it's paused, the game it neglects to disable that door, as long as you have it paused during the fade out. So it's a pretty broad window of input there. ShiningDragoon dealing with the room that gave him so much trouble last time. No problem, though. Textbook traversal of that room.
Now, one thing to note with this ice area is not all of the sections here actually have ice physics. The rooms that you see that don't have pink in their palette set or tile sets don't have ice physics. The ones with pink do not.
Well, with excessive amounts of pink, I guess all the doors have a little bit of pink in it. But yeah, you're right. It's the ones where, yeah, well, there's ones where there's like many different shades of pink, and that's the one that those are the ones that you don't have ice physics in. But Dragoon did that one of the more difficult runes really well there, like 3 rooms ago. I kind of missed it, but it was I think the hardest room in this level, and he just blazed through it, so that was cool. He's taken a lot of damage here, and this is all intentional. He wants to get death not in this room, but the next room, because there's some spikes right near the door. But he has to waste some lives, because after this boss is over, he's going to use a continue to warp back to the start of this area instead of backtracking. This is a relatively new addition to the route. Yep, that spike is a nice, quick, easy way to die. He's even taken more damage on his last life. He's going to go into this boss with as little health as possible, so he's really playing it close to the wire here.
Yeah, this is extremely fast and loose.
Look at that. He's at 0 bars of health going into this boss. Is that right?
One highlighted there.
Can't see it. The screen. Oh, he's got 1. Okay. Oh, I was looking at his... Yeah, he's got 1.
You mean his gun, yeah.
His gun, yeah. Anyway, so he gets this pause glitch. This is essentially the same trick as the Area 2 boss. Yeah, in the US version... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Zero having a little bit of issues here with this climb here, having to throw out some homing missiles to take out the mechanical bees.
I like the homing missile strats, but the problem is the homing missiles create so much lag that it actually doesn't work out to be faster. I'm going to give Area 4 a little bit more playtime here.
Excellent.
Check that out. We're just going to switch to Area 4 anytime people are killing themselves over and over again.
Yep. Welcome to Area 4, Seppuku.
Right. Okay, so here we have this necessary... He has to die 3 times and take his game over here. And this is necessary because we skipped the key. So the only way back through that door is to continue warp.
Which is going to lead us to more backtracking!
Oh yeah, good old backtracking. Here we are back in Area 1 yet again. This is our 3rd time in this room. And final. We have the Wall 2 upgrade, which means
the Wall 1 upgrade.
Did I do that last time too?
No, you just did it this time.
I'm sure I did, but it must have been a...
That's okay, at least I haven't called anybody Scav yet tonight.
Oh yeah, that's true. Mythical called Dragoon Scav, actually, so you're...
I think he was pointing that out just because I was on commentary.
Oh, you think that was an intention?
You know it was intentional.
We'll give him credit. We'll give him credit.
Yep.
Alright, so... Yeah... What was I saying? Sorry, I lost my train of thought there. Oh yeah, it's Wall 1. So that lets us access Area 7. That's why we're back in Area 2 now.
Meanwhile, while we were discussing backtracking, Zero was taking out Frozen Crabulus. And taking a couple of deaths here in this section of Area 5 because it's much faster to die there. Now he's going to take that last death in Area 4. And meanwhile, over in the chat, Gilroy from Angus and Gilroy from that night is checking in.
Oh, good. There we go. Gilroy's here. We saw a cool thing from ZeroNoin. He jumped right from the tank straight to that ladder. That's pretty...
Yeah, that definitely was cool looking.
Back in Area 1, this is actually a kind of tricky room that we see ZeroNoin climbing in. This is not one of my favorites. This took me a while to get that room right. He is not going for the flashing hover. Right there, to the left of the screen, there was a flashing hover that he could have collected. Typically, players will get that because that means they get to use all the hover they want in Area 7. But I think that ZeroNoin is probably going to go for the first skip. He's going to go for the full thing, the full Monty. He's going all the way, so you don't need any hover for that. I mean, I assume it's that as opposed to him just forgetting. No, he did go for it last time. Yeah. So technically, he's doing the right thing now.
Mm-hmm.
And let's switch to Area 7 background.
Area 7, home of the hyperactive music. I do have to say, though, the Area 7 music definitely fits the crescendo of the whole area. It's you've gone through the whole game, then you get to Area 7, and it's got this really evil look to it, and then this music just fits everything that you've come up to, which is it's like coming up to the climax, and then you get to Area 8, and it's just like, that's really disappointing.
Area 8's kind of got the chilled out music, although the final boss fight switches back to this Area 7 music.
Yes.
That's when you're mashing the button against a glowing pair of pants. That is the music that you're listening to as you fight the flashing pants.
If I ever run this game, that's going to be the split name for that, is Flashing Pants.
Flashing Pants. Alright, well, ZeroNoin's making his way towards Area 7, but I'm pretty sure that Dragoon he's not going to catch up the amount that he needs to catch Dragoon, although he can put himself back into striking distance, at least being ready for a mistake on Dragoon's part, if he manages to... Okay... Yeah, if you get hit while you're wall 2ing or wall 1ing, either one, you'll get knocked off of the wall. And what he's doing is a little bit more difficult because he doesn't have hover. Normally you would use hover there to make that last, to skip that last bit of the climb. But he had to go all the way up, and it put him at risk of hitting that enemy. So Dragoon doing the screen wraps, he's got one more. Miss it. There we go. And we're seeing ZeroNoin, yeah, he's going left here. That means he's going straight for the more difficult version of this skip.
He pulls this off, he'll be pretty close, right back in where Dragoon is.
I'd say he could be, if this goes well for him, he could be 20 seconds or less away from Dragoon.
Mm-hmm.
This is a little bit RNG dependent, though. He needs a good pattern from enemies. And he's got to nail these door wraps. Doing the crouch there so that he... Oh wait. Is that an intentional death from Dragoon? Or did he mess up?
He messed up.
He messed up. Dragoon just game overed.
So he's going to have to start from all the way at the beginning of Area 7.
ZeroNoin, what are you doing? Did he get it? He did. Did he
got
just
it.
pause buffer? Did he pause buffer that? I've never seen that before.
ZeroNoin now is actually going to be in the lead right now because of pulling that off and Dragoon dying. So we've got a race, people.
We sure do, man. Wow. He's getting... Oh, I don't know that he's got the health to do this. Oh, Zero, watch out. I don't think you got the health for this, man. Watch out. Yeah, see, I think he realizes this. He just paused and unpaused. And he's going to take an extra death.
So he's going to now have to take the long way through.
I'm not sure.
The overworld section.
I'm not sure what he's going to do. Does he have any more lives?
No, he's got 0, so he's going to have to take the long way through the Area 7 dungeon.
He doesn't have to. He can do this trick. It's just... Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah, I don't think you can farm enough health from just the first... I'm thinking maybe you can kill the first guy, but then you can't damage boost off him. So yeah, you're right. He is going to have to take the long way. Yeah, there's literally nothing else that he can get any health from. This is going to be a close one, man. Alright, he does make it in here, and yeah, he didn't get any health drop from that. If he had gotten a health drop from maybe the second guy and then came back to the first one, he still could have done the skip.
Right,
interesting.
He's probably going to pick up that flashing P again.
Right, yeah, I think that is. And that's going to set him back a little bit. And I'm wondering if he's still going to be ahead of Dragoon. He's got to be, because it takes time to do this skip. So he is still going to be ahead of Dragoon at that point.
Yep.
Man, that's tricky, because if Dragoon's got a better... Oh, Dragoon's not even doing the skip.
He's just going full on. Yeah, wow.
I don't blame him, but he's gotta get a hustle on here, because he is now a full boss dungeon behind.
Yeah, the unintentional game over there. That's unfortunately one of the problems that can come up with doing all of these death warps and these sequence breaks here. Is you end up doing it in a manner that, wow, again,
he get it again. Oh, he's got to get it though. All right, he made it that time. And he did the oh! This is his last life, guys.
What? What? Are you kidding me right now? Are you actually kidding me?
All right, do it the safe way, man. All right, there we go.
Do it
the safe way. Okay, good. Yeah, he didn't try to do the diagonal boost. He didn't try to do the quick boost. He just did it the surefire method.
Wow.
And fortunately, these last two skips are not bad.
No, but you did see over there as we were oohing and eyeing over Dragoon taking several lava baths. ZeroNoin decided he wanted frog legs and killed the frog.
Yep, frog down.
Swag fall.
Yeah, good fall.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Dragoon better hope he doesn't get double KO'd by this thing. Yeah, looks like he's got a solid grenade pause there.
Yeah.
You just got to not unpause too early. Sometimes it's tough to hear the cue on this boss because your grenade will contact part of its invincible spot and make a terrible high-pitched noise that masks the audio cue you're looking for. Dragoon taking a death. Fortunately, it's his last life, so at least he got a quick death warp. He is going to have to really rush if he's going to beat ZeroNoin, who is just now entering Area 3 as Dragoon enters Area 2.
Yeah, this is gonna be a race, people.
Possibly a third race.
I would love to see a third race. If for no other reason, I get more Area 5 music. Again,
Okay.
Dragoon missing the swag fall.
Hover drop for ZeroNoin.
Wow, beautiful.
Did he just narrowly miss getting knocked off the ceiling a couple different ways there?
Yeah, he did.
Wow, the luck is on his side this time. I wonder if he knows where his opponent is.
I don't know.
He's in great shape, though. He gets to trigger the Area 8 background switch.
Yes, he does.
Cool. Well, he's got his H drop. He's just got to watch his health. There's a 2 points of intentional damage here. Oh, he did. Oh, he messed it up. There was a cool strat that I think it was him who discovered that. A neat way of going through those spikes, but it doesn't look like he got it that time. This room is a little bit of a chance to pick up some of the health that you're lacking. I wouldn't be too happy doing this with 2 bars of health, because even though he can hover across... Yeah, he's taken the death. I think that even though you can hover across that, I think that may have been a smart place to take the death, because he only had 2 bars, so he would have died right there going through those spikes. And that's a long way to fall and a long way to respawn. Dragoon is finally into Area 8. ZeroNoin doing great in this room, though. Great on health.
Yeah. Oop. As soon as you say that, he falls into spikes.
Sure, but he still overall has got a lot of health. Dragoon is not that far behind, really, but Zero just got through the one room where you really would expect something catastrophic to happen. This area I don't think is going to be too difficult for him. It's going to be a little laggy, but as long as he doesn't die to the final boss, I think he can just play it safe and win this match.
Yeah.
Or win this race, rather.
And send this to a third match. Now, the one thing make a note of, guys, here is that even though the tank's health is pretty low, we're getting to the point now where once we get to the final dungeon, which we're almost there, you're going to be getting a full health refill because you're going to be playing as Jason.
Mm-hmm. So that's nice. Jason does have a health that's independent of his tank.
Yep. And another nice thing is every time you jump into the tank as Jason, your health gets refilled. So this is the plutonium boss again.
Alright, well, he's got a fair amount of health coming in here. He's just got to play it smart.
Right, really good plutonium boss fight there. And this is a new one for I haven't seen this version of the kill.
Nope, this is a new one. Man, he's taken some damage though. If he dies here,
Dragoon has it, I'm pretty sure.
he must be mashing his hand off.
Has to be mashing his apps. Got it!
Wow, look at that.
We've got a third one, people.
That was unexpected.
That was completely unexpected, but at the same time, ridiculously awesome.
Yes. Wow. Great job, ZeroNoin. That was the second run that he's ever streamed of this game.
Yep.
And he just beat a former world record holder, getting a sub 33, which is a nice time for a race.
ZeroNoin coming in chat asking if you won.
Sure did.
Yep. So that means we get to do this dance one more time. So we're probably going to take a quick, 30-second to a minute break here just to get the SRL reset up for the third and final race here in this round-robin match. So if this is a point where you need to get up, stretch your legs, use the restroom, get a beverage, grab a snack, this is the time to do it. Because I cannot be held responsible if in the process of getting snacks or beverages if you miss the beginning of the third race. That's your own fault. I'm giving you a chance right now. Getting snack. And just because we can, I'm going to have a little straw poll to favorite music Blaster Master.
I wonder what's going to win.
I'm willing to bet that the second answer wins here. Yep. So far, we've got of the 14 total votes, 10 of them are admitting they're wrong. All right, so again, we are just getting things ready and set up for the last of this best of 3 race series here in the round robin section of this Blaster Master tournament. For any and all information involving this tournament, go ahead and check out the links that I just had Nightbot post in the chat. The tournament itself is going to be right over at challenge.com/blastermaster, and the upcoming match is going to be at that link that is going to be our document for that. In addition to Blaster Master, coming up directly following this, we have got more Link to the Past, no major glitches for you guys. So Nightbot is going to be generous enough to post both the bracket from Challenge and the schedule for that as well in chat. So if you're interested in that, go ahead and take a look at that. There are definitely a couple other things we want to let you know about as well. I would be remiss and get yelled at again if I don't talk about this one. So there is a Ninja Gaiden 2 tournament coming up. Sign up. The tournament is going to begin May 1st, and I believe signups are almost closed. So if you're interested in running Ninja Gaiden 2, go ahead and head over to challenge.com/Ninja Gaiden 2. In addition to that, I also want to let you guys know about the Super Metroid tournament. So that's going to be starting on April 22nd, which is coming up fairly soon here. So if you want to sign up, go ahead and head to challenge.com/SMNE2016. We also have a bunch of other things letting you know about. The last of which I know for a fact is going to be the Mega Man 46 Robot Masters tournament. But I'm not going to give you any more information on that because we are getting ready to go here. So we are off, ready to go, and this is going to be the third and final race here in the Blaster Master tournament, or this specific race in the tournament. I do want to let you guys know it's mostly going to be me for this last one here because, as I mentioned, coming up immediately following this is a Link to the Past, and Feasel, being the one-man tech crew that he is going to take care of the setup for that. So for the most part, you're going to have to deal with me endlessly rambling on about stupid things for the next half an hour or so.
And I'm going to keep an eye. I'll keep an eye on him, guys. Don't worry, we won't let him get too far out of control.
So meanwhile, again, we have the start that we've been seeing for the past 2 races. I'm going through Area 1 to make our way to get to the Mother Brain. So basically, it's again low, high, which is going to be a little faster. For the most part here, as we mentioned at the very beginning, it's all a matter of who gets there faster based on lag and execution. As you saw in the last race, anything can happen, and seeing this is a race, it usually does. So we are in the first overworld area here, and I'm not going to try and do a lot of play-by-play because you guys have seen this twice. So giving you a play-by-play of what's happening would, to me, be a disservice to the game. One, I don't play it. I understand it, but I don't fully play it, so I can't give you a full-on play-by-play of what's actually happening. So I'm more going to discuss what I see, and oh my god, if that happens, get your reaction type of deal. So that's more what we're getting here. Take a look at potentially if another new strat is used, as we saw with Dragoon in race 1 doing the bottom strat, and race 2 doing the right-hand side strat. Looks like he's doing the right-hand side strat again for the Mother Brain here. Very, very, very good kill there on the Mother Brain from Dragoon there, and I actually have access to looking about his splits, and that is a gold split on the Mother Brain from what I can see. It is a little blurry on this because I've got like 5 things up on my screen at once, but it does look like a gold split, so that's going to be nice. You all want me to rant. Why do we all want me to rant? Meanwhile, ZeroNoin also making his way out of the Mother Brain fight. So both runners here having a decent start, nothing crazy. As we can see, we are now making our way. I got to get this ready because I now have access to the remote. So I'm sorry, guys. Anyway, welcome to Area 2. It's going to take a little bit longer to switch than we want it to just because of how it works. But anyway, we are in Area 2. So again, the same thing is going to apply here. We're looking more into the execution, the lag. Yes, TGE has the remote. You're all going crazy. Mr. Meow Nuts, what do you mean when you ask where can you watch the Metroid run? Are you talking about the matches for the tournament? Because if you're talking about the matches for the Metroid tournament, more information will come when we get it. But I believe they'll be broadcasting a lot of the matches right here on Speed Gaming. So keep tuned into here, and you can definitely find out about that. Wrong command, Myth. Yes, you can't see it right now, but I'm actually dancing along to the music, and it's kind of disturbing, actually. You don't want to see that. So I guess I will ask, because, again, we're just making our way through Area 2 here, which we've seen a couple times already, and nothing too crazy is looking like it's happening. However, over on Zero's side, he is getting trolled a little bit by those robot enemies and getting kind of jumped on. So I do have a question. You guys are asking me to rant. Well, what would you like me to rant about?
There I am.
Oh, yes, and there we go. We have Dynatox Industries here with us now. So,
hey.
I am getting a little bit of echo feedback from the mic you're using, so you might need to go to push to talk. Well, what would you like me to rant about?
Still a problem?
Yes. So as you can see there, Dragoon taking the death again right before the Crabulous boss, or Mr. Grabby, rant about Danish girls. Can I just rant about Danishes?
How much did I miss?
You missed me getting told to rant about Danishes and Dragoon killing Mr. Grabby, and Zero walking into Mr. Grabby right now.
Yeah, but that happens every race.
Exactly. So not a whole lot, really. Based on timing-wise here, because of the way they have synced and desynced themselves, they actually are fairly close. Just the way they're starting, the stream lag is a little bit different. So they are actually fairly close when it comes to where they are at this point in the race.
I'm catching up now, seeing who. So Dragoon's a little bit ahead?
Dragoon is a little bit ahead, yes.
All right.
Yes, spoilers, they beat the game every race. Yep, so as was mentioned in the first couple of sections of commentary, the item we get from defeating this Area 2 boss is going to allow us to, I say us like I'm playing the game, allow us to destroy these little blocks and make our way a little bit farther along down the road. Which basically means I get to push another button and send us to Area 3.
You're in charge of that now?
Yeah, I have the magical remote control.
Considering how critical you've been a Feasel, you better be on the ball.
Everyone tells me that every time.
I'll be watching you.
Go right ahead. Because I have a gigantically broad shoulder, so I have no problems taking all of the criticism that I expect from you guys. I like to just go to Area 5. I wish it changed the music.
I wish someone would run through Area 4. I honestly don't remember at all what it looks like.
Well, I know that the Area 4 dungeon kind of looks like the Area 7 dungeon, except it has real water instead of lava. Tell us more about your... Oh, God. This is what happens when you leave me in charge. The chat goes crazy.
Who said you were in charge?
I have the remote control. I'm in charge of the backgrounds, the most important thing in this whole game. Okay, I know I'm not really in charge, but let me think I'm in charge. It makes me feel so much better.
Every conversation devolves into a discussion about what you're wearing.
For the most part, I'm not the one who brings it up.
I don't think it's coincidence. I think we've got plants in chat.
So how's the Blaster Master race going here?
They are actually making their way through Area 3 right now. I've just been losing myself because the chat's been crazy. I do apologize for that. No actual big difficulties here. They're probably within a couple of seconds of each other. Just it's hard to tell because of the difference in when their streams started the race. But for the most part, we're actually looking at a fairly tight race making our way into or through Area 3 and to the Area 3 dungeon section.
Feasel, you should probably say something informative about the actual game, since we haven't been talking about anything except for what Greenleaf has been wearing.
I see.
That was the chat, not me.
Well, I'll get back into that in just a moment as soon as I get some things set up. You guys will have to hold down the fort.
As long as it's a pillow fort. Anyway, as you can see, Dragoon has made his way into the dungeon section of Area 3, and ZeroNoin is close behind him. I use the term dungeon section to talk about any of the top-down rooms that you're going to be playing as Jason in. Really quick, actually not as quick as you'd like, but a fairly decent death here in this barrier room where you have to go through to make your way to Photophage, or the Light Eater, as we determined last time. Meanwhile, Zero is going to have to take a little bit more damage on his way there. He's got quite a bit of health left. So he's going to have to take a lot more damage on his way there if he's planning on taking the death in the in this barrier room. He is just walking straight through, so we're not going to get that death. He's just going to go in, and is he potentially going to take a death in the Photophage room? Speaking of which, Dragoon having a bit of a hard time with the Photophage fight, not nearly as clean as he would like it. Alright, now we're going to see the beginnings of the death abuse. Meanwhile, Zero over there going into the fight with
Dragoon
only...
not having a great fight.
Yeah, meanwhile, the Photophage fight, now we're getting to start with the death abuses here. And technically this is where we're supposed to cycle through areas 3, area 3, area 2, area 1. Area 4 is the next area we're going to. So we're just going to click the area 4 button and give the area 4 background a little more love because we really don't see it a lot.
Scav worked just as hard on Area 4 as any of the others.
Exactly. Area 4 needs love too. Yep, so we're now going to be making our way after these death abuses to everybody's favorite portion of this game, the hover farm. So you guys are saying you wanted your rant, here you go. The hover farm is potentially, and actually no potentially about it, is the most random number generator portion of this event, or this race. RNG, random number generator, whatever you want to call it. It can be really fast, it can be really slow, but for the most part, it's definitely obnoxious because you have to wait and destroy these ships and hope they drop a hover. And just so we all know, every one of these ships you don't destroy is always guaranteed to have the hover drop you needed. Speaking of being obnoxious, as you can see, the hover drops are not cooperating with Dragoon at all. Only sitting at 2 right now. That's definitely going to give Zero a chance to catch up a little bit here, especially if Zero has a decent hover farm.
The last race, Dragoon had a pretty much perfect hover farm, so it's a little bit of karma.
Absolutely. However, karma not being too much of agreeable, because as you can see, the hover farms...
Yeah, I mean, they're not even
also
appearing.
pretty bad.
Well, depending on the runner, they stand on different platforms. So I'm assuming if Dragoon's standing on that low one, that's probably the best chance of a spawn there. That the flyers will spawn above that one.
I would imagine the same thing with Zero, because he is the one who's dug into all the technical aspects of this, so
right.
Absolutely. Meanwhile, as you can see, Zero taking the death here and getting the blinky hovers to make his way up to Area 4.
Dragoon, you mean, right?
No, you're watching through the delay. I actually have it through live streamer, so I'm a little bit ahead of you. So meanwhile, as we get that sort of synced up, We have the best music in the game coming up yet again, Area 5.
They're not at Area 7 yet. This is 5.
Yep. So again, the didn't really get into too much detail about the door skip that you just saw there, but basically, the way it's going to work is once you adjust the tile sets and adjust where they are sitting from the shifting perspective, there is 2 things that can get you to cancel it, and we actually see both of them in a really short span of time here. The first way to cancel it is what we do to skip from Area 4 to Area 5, and that's attempt to enter the door to Area 5. By doing so, by doing that, it cancels everything and lines everything back up, and then we can go through the door normally. The second way of doing it is the way you see it normally happen, is by pausing the game. By pausing the game after you've done the glitch, it's going to reset all of the tiles to where they are. So that's basically what you're looking at for the door skip. So that's the 2 ways to really fix that.
Can I just say that I hate these enemies that I'm seeing in Area 5 here, these little homunculi. I mention it to Scab and Orf whenever I'm watching them practice, but they creep me out a little bit. Like, what are they exactly?
What are most of the enemies in this game? I mean, you're being attacked by little orb things, toasters. I mean,
Right.
Yeah, they...
That's normal to be attacked by a toaster, but...
Sometimes these swimming things are called ninjas. They look like they got a little bit of a ninja mask.
They're actually called ninjas, or
no,
you
we just call them that. But not just me. I mean, people who this game have called them that. But I don't know that the instruction manual is going to give us the names to the individual enemies. So we have to just make up something.
Well, I don't see why Jason would be fighting ninjas below his in that pit outside in his backyard.
Why would there be a pit in the backyard in the first place?
True.
Well, Dragoon
why
gets
would he not put a cover on that jar that's holding his frog?
Well, that's true too.
Yep. Dragoon, meanwhile, getting a fairly quick crab glitch here, and making his way to finish off the Game Boy Eye of Shell.
Yeah, let's see how much behind they are. Dragoon gets the item at 35. ZeroNoin coming into this boss here. He's
At
hopefully, if he
35.
can get it the first time, doing some extra pauses because he was a little early. He's got it though.
Yep.
Peasel, what's your take on it? Looks like a Game Boy or doesn't look like a Game Boy?
I think it looks like a Game Boy.
Talking the original brick Game Boy, right?
Sure,
Not the
yeah.
micro.
No. So we got about a 25-second difference between Dragoon and Zero at the item grab. So there's about a 25-second difference right now between them based on the time they both grabbed the dive engine.
Alright, ice area. One of the trickier parts of this game, really it's just the ice physics that you have to struggle with. All in all, the rooms are pretty reasonable. There's 2 of them that are pretty tricky. There's 2 tricky rooms, and there's 1 room where if you want to do the fastest method, you have to do a rather risky jump. But other than that, usually once I get to this point in the run, I feel pretty confident about it. Then again, I'm used to playing on the US version where anything that gets you past the crab boss is a run that you feel good about.
True.
That is fair. And actually, that's definitely a good point, is the fact that playing this on the Japanese version does make getting here feel a lot less like an achievement than it used to. Yeah, accomplishment. Yeah.
Dragoon's
But
coming up to this.
There's no difference in the jump here. I mean, it's just going
Right.
to... It's just as many people are going to die or fall in the Japanese version as the American version.
Yeah, exactly. It's not affecting that jump that he just did. It's not
Right.
really affecting anything in here. There's slightly less lag, but
Right.
you barely notice it once you've played on the Japanese version a little bit. You don't even notice the difference so much anymore.
Mhm.
And yeah, ZeroNoin coming up to that spot. Oh no, never mind. He's a room behind that.
Yep. Does have a
Dragoon
little
right
bit of
now.
trouble with that jump, though.
Yeah, that one's a hard one to get to. Anytime you have to jump with your tank into like a 1-tile crack, it's a little tricky. But right here, ZeroNoin trying to do the safety strats. He's backing up, does
Caterpillars.
not want to get stuck by those caterpillars.
Oh, that's gonna do it.
Nope. Well, Dragoon making his way through the other of the difficult rooms.
That's rough.
Yeah, that's really rough.
What is
Man.
that? 40 seconds? I'm trying to remember.
I don't think that it's even that much.
Ooh.
But doing it twice,
Yeah,
you're pretty much stuck at that point. He can't take any more deaths. I'm just trying to think. I guess he's going to have to be pretty conservative with his health. There's a flashing health refill. Yeah, see, that's the thing about doing this safety strat here, is that you have to deal with the caterpillars a lot more. If you actually go for the tricky jump, it's really just one input that you have to get right. All you do is hold right through that whole section, and you just press the A button the moment you see the tank springs start to recoil, when you see the tank suspension bounce as the tank lands. Just hit the A button. It's just one input you have to get right.
And
Yeah.
ignoring the caterpillars, how much time does it save to jump below rather than go up and around?
If you fight the caterpillars correctly, you can... I mean, it's like less than a second. You just hesitate for a moment and take the caterpillar who's in your way out, and then jump into the gap.
Yeah, but it's the
barely any difference. It's just that the caterpillars are really tough to deal with. If you miss the shot, you could end up getting stun locked by them.
No, exactly. You're stuck.
Meanwhile, you see how Zero there backtrack to pick up a couple of power drops there, because he does have 0 lives left, so he has to manage his health very, very closely here. At the same time, you have Dragoon, who is just finishing up with Mrs. Grabby, or Frozen Crabulous, whatever you want to call it, and taking his last Death Warp to make our way back so we can get to Area 7.
There's a big smile on ZeroNoin's face after he beat the crab. Not the crab, I'm sorry. The Grabby. Knew he was low on health.
So again, because we're doing a bunch of backtracking, I don't feel like making you guys switch to 5, 4, 1, 7, so 1, 2. So we're just going to switch directly to background 7, because that's where we're headed.
Ah, sorry. I meant that it was Dragoon who did.
So far we've got Zero being very, very conservative here in this overworld dungeon. Again, because he definitely has to be, for the sake of having no lives. So can't take any of the death warps you usually would. So we're going to play this very, very safely. And one of the things that I've noticed here when it comes to things like this is whenever you end up having to play a room safely because of things like deaths and having to manage life, that's usually when a lot more of the issues show up, just because you're almost playing too conservatively. Does manage to make his way through just fine into Frozen Crabulous here, but let's still see if he can actually get through and get the pause strat going here. Does manage to get that just fine. So even though he had a little bit of a struggle getting to the Frozen Crabulous, does manage to take out Frozen Crabulous without a big hiccup. So that's going to be at least a little bit of relief. He's like, yeah, we got here. We didn't have to go through it again.
You like saying Crabulous, right? Rolls off the tongue a little bit.
It does.
Tell you shoved it in there a bunch of times in one sentence.
So now we're going to see the same way that Zero has been doing these deaths the entire time, taking the first 2 here in Area 5, where it's a whole lot faster, and then only having to do one of the deaths into Area 4 to get back to where we need to go for the backtracking. I still just love how there's just random small little ladder there, and that's the only thing you have. It's like, what's the point of having the little ladder there?
Well, we discussed it, that in that what you're actually supposed to do, right? You're supposed to leap off. You're supposed to climb the ladder, leap off with Jason or whatever. What's his name in the Japanese version? Kane?
Kane.
That sounds right.
And you're supposed to land on the lock while dying, I think. Maybe not dying, but yeah, it is awkward looking.
Yeah, it's very, very awkward looking. But meanwhile, we are finally into the real Area 7 here. So now the background is actually correct, and I would imagine that because we haven't seen him do the first part of it in the first 2 races, we're not going to see Dragoon go for the hard version of the skip again. We're just going to see him go for the safer of the 2, and we would definitely be seeing Zero go for it because, again, he did not pick up any of the hover on the way down from Area 4.
I'd also imagine that the chat is mentioning the music, Greenleaf. What do you think?
Probably.
Let's see. They're being very mature about it.
Either way, it's going to be interesting to see if Dragoon has the same issues in the Area 7 dungeon that he had in the last race.
If I were him, I wouldn't go for either of the skips, and I would do those lava skips as safely as possible. He's already lost a match, or lost a game, and if he's gonna do anything like a soft lock, he might lose this whole match, and that would be a huge upset. No one was expecting anyone except maybe Scavenger to beat ShiningDragoon in this, so
right.
To have this relative newcomer, although extremely knowledgeable newcomer, to take out Dragoon in the first round, or I guess it's not the first round for him. Dragoon's already done one, but yeah, that would be a huge upset.
But realistically, for Dragoon, I mean, he doesn't have to win each of his races, right? I mean, he can just next time he races, he could decide not to do the skip. He doesn't need to be safe right now, does he?
Well, if he could lose this match if he's not safe right now.
Of course,
but
who advances in the structure of the tournament?
It's top 2.
Such that what?
It's the top 2 in each group, so
right.
2 out of 5 people will advance.
So in all likelihood, Dragoon probably believes that he's going to advance regardless. So I mean, clearly he's doing the skip now. So
yeah, he is doing it
and executing it nearly flawlessly.
Yeah, I mean, he needed it and he got it.
But speaking of skips, there is Zero going for the hard version of the skip. So again, if he picks this up, he will be a whole lot closer to Dragoon than he was 30 seconds ago.
I love that he's doing these skips too, because this is one that almost everyone's shied away from, and he's doing it every single time.
Yeah,
so
he's
cool.
doing the diagonal on. So maybe he believes that it's a foregone conclusion that he's going to make the second round anyway, so he's still just practicing.
Yeah, maybe so.
It's entirely possible, but it is one of those things where it's still awesome to see.
No, of course. Anyway. He likes to take chances anyway.
Yep, so we're going to get the death here from Zero because he got the first part of the skip. Meanwhile, you have Dragoon feeding Solar Fred a very spicy meatball. Yep, and this is pretty much exactly the scenario they were in last time when the lava skips ate Dragoon up.
Not only that, but Dragoon wasn't at all hesitant in doing the lava skips, even though it took his life last time, even though he lost life doing it last time.
No, and to me, it's one of those things where that shows the breadth of knowledge and confidence from playing the game so much that you like, I can do this. That was a fluke last time. We can do this. And Dragoon finally getting the swag fall, by the way.
Like, there's no question. I feel like most of the racers have been getting the swag fall consistently, but maybe I wasn't paying attention last race whether they did or didn't.
Zero having a little bit of trouble. He had to kill that guy to get some of the health he needed, so he's now going to have to take the very, very long way. Which, as Fiesel mentioned earlier, is a path that I've never seen before because I don't usually see people do it.
Is Fiesel around? Because I'm always curious about controlling lag in the room that Dragoon just passed.
67.
I thought it was 42.
Oh, whoops. Sorry, hold on. I was talking to somebody else.
That's okay. Yeah, so let's see how this fight, very, very solid execution on the spicy meatball for the frog there. So Zero can be a little upset about the dungeon itself, but can't be upset about that boss fight.
Dragoon just picked up a hover.
Yep, so that's going to be good for the spike pit there. Also,
Yep.
the I missed it earlier, but the dodge he had on the sine wave was awesome. No, I did see the miss on the enemies. I was just in the process of discussing what was going on with the frog, so I didn't want to interrupt what I was saying. So we had Dragoon making his way through 8, and again getting the swag fall from ZeroNoin, so that's good. It's really, really good there. So at this point where we're at is it's just a matter of execution at this point. So as long as nothing super crazy happens, and as we've seen, something super crazy can definitely happen. This is Dragoon's race to lose. Just
As long as he doesn't soft lock on the boss.
Exactly. It's, again, barring something crazy, it's Dragoon's race to lose. Meanwhile, the lag here is just being absolutely insane for Dragoon.
Yeah.
That was just all kinds of stupid.
I really feel for ZeroNoin, who's pretty much had one of the best initial, races I've ever seen. I mean, this is as good as you could hope for, but he's playing Dragoon, so.
Yeah. I mean, in all seriousness, he was able to pull off 3 times in a fairly high-stress environment a quote-unquote task-level skip. So, I mean, just in that alone, the fact that he was able to execute that perfectly all 3 times is insane.
I mean, his times are also really, really good.
Absolutely. Meanwhile, speaking of being really, really good, Dragoon is also on an insane pace.
He's got Form 1 finished.
Yep, and he's going for the swag.
He's only going to be about 30 seconds off his PB, right?
His non-race PB, yes, but he has a potential to get a race PB out of this.
Oh no, definitely. I meant his.
40.
Yeah.
I do love the glitch kill here on the Underworld Lord, though.
Are those like broken eggs that he's standing on?
I don't even know what sprites they're supposed to be.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe they're in one of those side dungeons nobody goes into.
Maybe.
No, they're not.
It's tough to tell.
Yeah, I have no idea. But no, that was a super, super strong run there from Dragoon.
Excellent run.
Yeah, that's a 30-44 based on his time. I'm not sure what RaceBot's going to tell us, but either way, that's still a super, super strong time.
Did Scav beat that during one of his races, or is this the best of the tournament so far?
I'm not sure.
I don't remember. I thought Scav had like a 30-20 or something like that. I don't remember, though.
Well, regardless, it was near flawless.
Yeah, Dragoon popping into chat saying he was 0.1 seconds off of his race PB.
Huh.
Well, gotta be a cutoff somewhere.
Mm-hmm. But meanwhile, we still have ZeroNoin coming up here on the end of the Area 8 tank section and heading into the overworld section, which isn't really a huge overworld section, just fire up. So let's see how the bosses treat him, because so far he has had 2 very, very strong endgame boss sections here. So let's see if we can make it 3 for 3.
Diesel, there's no better way to navigate that last room before the boss. I know because of the way the gun is in his right hand, you have to sort of move to the right and then move back to the left, but nobody's tried to do a little better on that?
There's essentially 2 ways of doing it. One where you shoot the top middle block, and one where you shoot the top right block to start out. And it's just a matter of whether you want to pick up the flashing P health in there somewhere, but ultimately there's no faster way than what you see there. You can just do it more efficiently.
I do want to point out, and I don't mean to interrupt,
what
but
is happening on ZeroNoin's screen?
Zero just glitched the crap out of the plutonium boss.
Yeah. What was going on there?
I have no idea. I have
nuts.
no idea what's actually happening right now.
I don't even know.
What?
Nice. He was saving that one.
And now he's going for the glitchy swag kill as well. This is awesome.
Well, not gonna get hit.
Nope. What?
What? Kill him like
There we go.
What is this? Oh
he was keeping that one in his back pocket.
yeah, I'm not gonna lie, Dragoon, you just lost because Zero just outglitched you, man.
That was crazy.
Oh my god.
I want that didn't even seem like it lost too much time.
Either way, it looks freaking amazing.
No, of course. But I'm saying, even in a race situation, if you're 10 seconds ahead, you might be able to pull that off and still win.
If I'm 10 seconds ahead, I'm not trying it, but either way, this is awesome looking.
Well, you'd never be 10 seconds ahead, so you don't have to worry about that.
I'm never going to be ahead anyway. But this is absolutely crazy.
That was a good ending to a good race.
That was a fun ending to a fun set of 3.
That was an excellent race overall. Gotta give props to Zero.
Absolutely. Especially because, as it's been mentioned over and over time,
It's
this
faster?
is the first time actually streaming. But this is absolutely crazy.
Really. I mean, you sort of expect it from Dragoon. You know, you take for granted that he's going to be that good, but...
That was a fun ending to a fun set of 3. So, as much as I would love to, potentially get both of these guys in here to chat, we are on a very, very, very big time crunch here. So what I'm going to do is instead, I'm going to thank both ShiningDragoon and ZeroNoin for giving us a very, very entertaining set of races. I'm going to again thank Fiesel for letting me come up here and make a complete fool of myself in commentary. I'm going to thank Dynatox for coming in and jumping in here on the 3rd race. And I'm going to then say, for everybody here, I am the Greenleaf Effect, and please stay tuned because we're going to be getting you right from here into a Link to the Past, no major glitches. So, thank you everybody for watching.
Thank you to Fiesel and Greenleaf. Sorry to interrupt, but my dog.
Not a problem. Again, thanks for coming in, and everyone stay tuned because we have got more Link to the Past coming, and then around 10 p.m. Eastern Time, we've got more Blaster Master with more Shining Dragoon. That's going to be Shining Dragoon versus Mediocrity or Bust. So, again, thank you guys for watching, and see you guys later.